Today's topic is going to be on an indicator that I personally use every single day to trade. It just makes my trading decision much easier and simpler to make. So with that being said, let's get started, guys.
Shut up and sit down.
Hey guys, welcome back to another segment. My name is Cesar and I will be your instructor for today. So today's topic is going to be on an indicator that I personally use every single day to trade. It just makes my trading decision much easier and simpler to make. So with that being said, let's get started, guys. Okay, so today's topic is going to be on the VWAP indicator, and what VWAP stands for is volume weighted average, right? And VWAP is an indicator that I pretty much use every single day on my trading because it just makes it very, very simple to make decisions, right? And I'm gonna go over why that is in just a few minutes, and I'm also gonna go like break down, how I use VWAP in my trading. So before I get to like breaking down the trade, uh, I want to explain to you some concepts that are very, very important when using VWAP, right? So one way I want you to think of VWAP is that it acts as a secondary support or resistance, right? So if a stock is above it and it pulls back, chances are it's going to bounce, or at least get a reaction from VWAP on the way back down, and vice versa, right? If the stock is below VWAP and it tries to like, cross above it, it's probably going to reject and bounce back, right? Pull back. So that is very important concept, right? VWAP is a support or a resistance, and as well, it can act as like a, just like a magnet as well. Like if the stock is ever too close to the VWAP, it can like the VWAP will act like a magnet and pull the stock back to it. So those are important things, right? Um, Another way I want you to think of it is, if the stock is above VWAP, is bullish. If it's below it, it's bearish, right? And these things right here just make my trading decision much easier because I just look at the stock and see if it's above or below VWAP. If it's below VWAP, I won't even trade it. I won't touch it. But once it starts getting above VWAP, and it forms a pattern of sorts or a setup, that's when I start looking for an entry, right? So, very key, don't just blindly take an entry when stock crosses above or below VWAP, right? Don't just take an entry just because it's crossing. There has to be a pattern. There has to be a setup that is key, right? Otherwise, you know, um, it could reverse on you or something like that, right? So yeah, with that being said, let's get started, right? So I'm gonna break down VGFV, which was a stock that we traded on Monday, and basically my reason for this trade was, you can see this daily line right here is the daily resistance, right? So it broke above the daily resistance and it got a pretty good start, and eventually it rejected. It found resistance here and it rejected, right? It pulled back and it broke below VWAP, and I kept it on my watch list, right? I was still watching it even though there was no pattern or no entry. I still watched it and I saw that it broke above VWAP again, but I didn't take no entry, because remember, guys, there has to be a pattern, right? Don't just blindly take an entry when it breaks up or break down below it. So it went up, pulled back below VWAP again, and it formed another support. So this is when I saw that it was forming a pattern, right? So it was making a lower high here and a lower high, and as well a higher low, and higher low. So in essence, it was forming a wedge pattern, right? And a wedge pattern is it's a bullish pattern, usually a momentum pattern that just pops and goes, right? It just it goes pretty strong, right? So you can see, once I saw that the stock broke above VWAP and it was heading towards the resistance, that's when I start getting my entries ready, to get in. So you can see I took an entry around here when it broke above the trend line, put my stop loss below VWAP and the support. So therefore I have like, double protection, because chances are if it pulls back, VWAP is going to act as a support and possibly push it back up, right? Therefore I don't get stopped out and I'm safely in the trade. So in this case, we got a pretty good pop and eventually pulled back, but it stayed above VWAP, never went and touched it. And later in the day, the stock got the job done, right? We took some profits around here, and as you can see, throughout the rest of the day and the next day, the stock never went below VWAP, right? It was pretty much bullish in the uptrend until it did finally broke below it. So yeah, this is how I use VWAP as a secondary support and resistance, right? I trade it whenever there's a pattern of sorts and the stock is above it. So let me give you another example. for Lucid, right? We also traded Lucid on Monday, excuse me, and same concept, right? It broke above the resistance, and I saw that it started off pretty bullish, and it came back down to VWAP, got a little bounce, but eventually broke down. So I still kept it on my watch list in case it formed a pattern or a setup of sorts. And so I saw that it started crossing above VWAP, but still still no pattern or entry. And later in the day, it just consolidated above VWAP, and as you can see, it never broke below it, right? It tested it multiple times, one, two times, like three times, and never broke below it. So that in itself was, a very bullish sign for me, because it's not piercing it or breaking below it. So that's a pretty good strong sign. And at the same time, I noticed that it was forming a pattern as well, right? So you can see a lower high here, a lower high and a lower high and a higher low and a higher low. So I saw that it was forming a pattern and it was above VWAP. Those two things right there, they just gave me like the confidence to be able to, take this trade because, I had double confirmation basically, right? It was holding above VWAP, which is a good sign, right? Bullish sign. Remember, if the stock is above VWAP is bullish, if it's below it is bearish. So that in itself with a pattern gave me the confidence, and you can see we took an entry and we got a pretty good pop, right? We took profits around here, and as you can see late in the day it broke below VWAP, and it's been below VWAP ever since. So that just goes to show you that it works, right? Whenever a stock is below VWAP is bearish. In this case, once it broke below it, and never went back up. So yeah, that's how I want you to use or how I use VWAP basically. And you can use this for any stock. It doesn't matter what stock it is. Remember, if it's above it, it's bullish. If it's below it, it's bearish. So let's do a random stock. Let's do Tesla, right? Everybody talks about Tesla. Like, what's Tesla been doing? Tesla this, Tesla does. Elon Musk. So let's look at Tesla. Let's go in the 15-minute. So as you can see, Tesla, this is the VWAP right here, the yellow line. And you can see here it broke below the VWAP and it's been in the downtrend ever since, right? It's never gone back up above VWAP. It actually tried to like two times here, and as you can see, it rejected it, right? VWAP acted as a resistance and it pushed it back down. So, Tesla is still overall in a bearish trend. So therefore, you shouldn't be looking to take an entry on Tesla unless it goes back above VWAP, right? Or with a pattern, of course, right? You need a pattern or a setup of sorts. So yeah, let's go on the 5-minute. What's happening. You can see right here, as Tesla sold off and they try to get back above VWAP, it made a double top, right? It pierced it two times, but it never got the job done, right? It never went up. So therefore, you avoided a bad trade in case you were thinking of getting into Tesla, right? So that in itself, VWAP would have saved you. It would have saved you money, right? Depending on how much you risk. Depending if you risk $1,000, then it saved you $1,000. If you risked $500, it saved you $500, right? So remember, guys, VWAP is very important. Try to use it in your chart if you can. And yeah, with that, I'll leave you. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, just message me on Telegram. I'm always available, and I'll try to get back to you as fast as I can. And don't forget to comment as well. If you have any suggestions on what videos I should do next, leave the comments there. If you have any feedback, leave some comments, guys. But with that, I'll leave you, and thanks.